Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Tuesday talk. I have my friend Mallory joining me today. Mallory, I will let you introduce yourself here in just one moment, but before we get started, for our live listeners, we like these conversations to be interactive. So you do have the opportunity to type in a question. So depends on how your Zoom screen is set up, either at the top or bottom of your Zoom screen, you should have a chat button. Q&A, that button, not the chat button, ignore that one. So the Q&A button, click that bad boy and you can type in a question. There's even a little box that you can click that says anonymous, so your name is hidden. But if you have a question, don't be afraid to type in that question. I will make sure that I ask Mallory said question over the course of the next 30 minutes. So again, we love audience participation, so please don't be shy and type in a question. And for those that are watching on a recorded basis, thank you for watching this video. Okay, not the first time that I've interviewed Mallory, but Mallory, if you would please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Absolutely. I'm Mallory Hoskinson, Senior Director of Growth and Engagement. So that means that I work with our onboarding team, our coaching team, and our sales and kind of national referral partnerships team to grow your business and engage with the entire network.
Okay.
So work with everybody from start to finish.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we're going to focus at the beginning of this conversation. We're going to focus on the beginning of a franchise owner's journey with Right at Home, because the audience that is watching this video right now or listening, if you're joining us live, are people that are interested in joining the Right at Home system. So they're exploring Right at Home. They could potentially be exploring other franchise concepts, particularly senior care franchise concepts, but they're trying to decide if they're going to join Right at Home or not. So for this conversation, we're really going to be talking about strategic operations and all the things that go into strategic operations and what that means. But let's start at the beginning of a franchise owner's journey. So I would say the number one fear, if you will, for people who are joining Right at Home, they're typically individuals that don't have any home care experience, no medical or non-medical background, and even no business ownership experience. So they're a little afraid, like, gosh, I've never done this before. Where am I going to start? How am I going to start? And specifically, how am I going to operate my business without any experience? So if you could just briefly describe the support that we provide as the franchisor for franchise owners as somebody who has just joined Right at Home, they signed their franchise agreement yesterday. What do those first few weeks or months look like for a brand new owner? And I know you're like, Jen, we have 30 minutes and I could talk about this all day. But if you could just briefly describe what that help and guidance and support looks like for a brand new owner who has never done this before.
Yeah. Jen, like they always say, you can teach things, you just can't teach skills. And so if someone has the drive, the desire, the want to do this business, we have the resources to teach. So we're able to teach what home care is, business acumen, your financial statements. We can help you with any medical terminology that you need. So from the time that someone signs their franchise agreement, they're assigned an onboarding manager. That person walks through their entire journey of starting their franchise with them. So we will teach the basics down to, what is QuickBooks, to how to enter in your revenues, do a bank reconciliation. All of those things are done with someone the entire time. And then we will teach you the language that you need to know, how to set your bill rates, how to set your pay rates. Anything is from something as simple as, which do I get first, the client or the caregiver, to the more difficult tasks of, like I said, that bank recognition, or reconciliation. So we are able to teach all of those things, kind of like, when you have bad habits, they're hard to break. So we look at it as a fresh canvas with someone who's coming in and is eager and willing to learn. So I always say, why go into a franchise system? Because we are here to help you. If you already know everything, then what are we here to do?
Yes. Okay. So that seems like a lot. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's business ownership. When somebody joins the Right at Home system and they're a Right at Home franchise owner, they are one person. They're the face of the business, the owner of the business. If you could choose one thing that a Right at Home franchise owner, you've got a lot of things to learn. We're going to coach you and support you and help you, but focus on this. What piece of advice can you give a brand new franchise owner that, okay, yes, you have a lot of things going on, but your focus needs to be this? What is your recommendation on what that main focus should be?
My favorite question. Outside sales. Getting to know your market, getting to know, who's around you, and people getting to know you. People want to do business with people that they know and that they trust. And so the best thing that we can do is get out there. You're a part of a solid brand, but that's not going to make the phone ring. And, get to know who's in your community and, have them get to know you, because not only are you trying to recruit clients, but also caregivers to work for you too. The more known you are, the more apt that people are to utilize your services or work for you.
Okay, so let's pretend I'm a franchise owner and I say, Mallory, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hire somebody to do that. It's not a strength of mine. I've got somebody in mind that I'm going to hire that's going to do that. Is that okay to do? Or is that you are the face of the business? Is our recommendation that you as the franchise owner should be doing that? Or is there some consideration if that's not a strength of mine that somebody else can do that? What is your recommendation?
Yeah, we often hear, I don't sell. I don't like sales. I don't know anybody that loves to ask people for their money. But the franchise owner being the face of the business is crucial, and we think very, very important. And we look at it as you're not selling, especially in the beginning. You're researching, you're fact finding. You're introducing yourself. And you are getting to know these other people. Most often, though, we do see success with people that say, I am just not interested in this. They do the research, and get out in the community, but then they do hire someone to be that full-time person out in the community. And it just takes a little bit of different management, but we can absolutely make that happen. We want someone to, really do what they love. And if out and being in the community isn't that, then we will help them overcome that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. A question just came in, so I'm going to read it to you as it's written here. It says, will you assist us with the sales pitch?
Absolutely. So we do elevator pitches all of the time. And so it just really starts with your why, who you are and why you're doing it. When you actually come to Omaha for our Residence Week, we spend a bulk of our time talking about who you need to be talking to and what you need to be saying to these people, and then how to answer their questions as well. So absolutely, we help with that pitch. By the time you get done with us, you'll be saying it in your sleep.
Okay. All right. So part of the process, hold that thought. Another question just came in. I'm going to read it to you here. And then we'll get to my question that I had teed up here in just a moment. It says, in the current climate, which one is the greater challenge as a new Right at Home owner? Securing clients or securing caregivers, and why?
Great question. So we've seen a big shift. Caregivers is kind of always an issue. Hiring people is always a struggle. But I think that we have turned more now to where we are looking for more clients. And so we always say, caregivers are going to be working for multiple agencies. So build your bench, but really focusing on those clients. You can't ever let up on either lever, but it's definitely working for those clients because you will have, like I said, that bench of caregivers to pull from.
Okay. All right. And it's as if this person was kind of reading my mind because I was going to ask a question similar to this.
Yeah.
But during the process, when somebody is interested in joining the Right at Home system, we ask them to pick up the phone and call some of our current franchise owners, which franchisee validation is a very, 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 if not the most important part of the process for you as a potential Right at Home franchise owner, just to learn a day in the life of a franchisee. However, we do encourage in those conversations to hear all of the awesome things about Right at Home franchise ownership, as well as some of the challenging moments and the challenging days. So if you could choose, and perhaps it's related to this last question, if you can choose, perhaps, let me put it this way, talk about some of those operational challenges that our franchise owners are experiencing, and just shed some light to our listeners on those anticipated challenges if they become a right at home franchise owner.
Yeah, I would say that caregivers are your biggest challenge. And so something that we always talk about is, why are our franchise owners so amazing? And, we talk about the culture and how it kind of starts with the franchisor, goes down to the franchisees, and then in turns trickles down into their office staff and their care staff. So really focusing in on not putting in a warm body. It is important to have that staff, but making sure that you know who is working for you, especially in the beginning as you're getting yourself established. I would say that is the biggest kind of hurdle for everyone is, keeping caregivers, getting caregivers, and then keeping them happy and providing that good work. And so we focus a lot on caregiver retention and ways to kind of the life cycle of a caregiver. And so there's best practices and resources for that throughout the franchise journey. But that's one of the biggest things. It's our cost of goods sold is that caregiver that's going out and servicing those clients. So we focus quite a bit on that operationally.
Okay, that's a good segue into my next question. So how do our franchise owners know if their caregivers are happy? How do our franchise owners know if their clients are happy and receiving the world-class care that Right at Home provides? How do we measure that, and how do we help our franchise owners with that employee and client satisfaction?
Yes, we look at those scores quite a bit. And where do those scores come from? Surveys. So we are partnered with Activated Insights, who also is our training platform for Right at Home University, but also for our caregiver training. And they will survey both your clients and your caregivers to get a good sense of pulse on where you compare to not only brand, but also national averages for clients and caregiver satisfaction.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that. It's just, the questions are coming in hot. I'm just going to keep reading them here. So there was a recent press release about our new partnership with Caribou. If you've been reading about Right at Home in the news. So this question says, can you talk a bit about the partnership with Caribou and how it benefits me as a franchise owner?
Absolutely. So Caribou is this platform that will talk to your caregivers for you. And it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of what caregivers want, what they need, and kind of what they're feeling. It surveys your caregivers, not on an annoying, political survey, calling your phone all the time survey, but it rewards them for, sadly, clocking in on time and clocking out on time, doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. It recognizes that so that your office staff or you is not focused on that as much. But then it also gives a good pulse check. So you can set it up to survey your people, after their first full 2 weeks and work. Your recruiter or you are talking to them after their first couple of shifts, but then a couple of weeks down the line, they're doing a touch base for you. So they're giving you kind of constant feedback. And it partners really, really well with our retention programs because you're getting that on the spot feedback instead of waiting for those Activated Insights surveys to be done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. All right, so shifting gears again. There's a lot of people that work here at Right at Home Corporate. I think we're at a point now where we've got over 100 staff members here helping and supporting our franchise owners. So if I become a Right at Home franchise owner, who is my point person? Who do I have as a one singular touch point for any questions or concerns, or somebody that I have that I work in partnership with on my business? Can you describe who that person is and what that role all entails?
Absolutely. So right out the gate, it's your RightStart manager. So that person will walk you through, those first few months of business ownership and really get you to have your sea legs. Then you graduate our RightStart process onto your business performance coach. That business performance coach is your key conduit to everybody at the corporate office. Yes, Jen, there are over 100 people working behind the scenes, and it is hard to keep track on who does what and which subject matter expert I need to reach out to. But as long as you know who your business performance coach is, who you will in turn be working with, usually on at least a monthly basis, so you know them pretty darn well, you just reach out to them, and they are responsible for putting you in contact with exactly who you need to be and putting you in the right direction for that best practice.
Okay. Perfect. And I actually just had I interviewed a Right at Home franchise owner yesterday. And for those of you who are have been in our resource center on our website, there's a full library of interviews where we on the franchise development team interview Right at Home franchise owner, their current experience, things that they have learned. And this specific owner just sang our praises about our RightStart program and how much she has learned going through that program as an owner who didn't have any home care experience, business ownership experience. She was like, I would have been so lost without it. So just kudos to you and your team and everything that you're doing to help and support and onboard our newer franchise owners. Okay, so here's another question that came in. It says here, performance groups. What do you do? I suppose explain what performance groups are for those who don't know what a performance group is. It says performance groups. What do you do to help owners continue to grow and scale their business?
Yes. So performance groups are, picture it like a board of directors. So it's a voluntary group and it's made up of 10 to 12 like-minded franchise. They get together 4 times a year, twice in person, twice virtually, and they open up their books. So they become very, very vulnerable. We're talking financial KPIs, we're talking operational KPIs, the good, the bad, the ugly. But then it's also your board of directors that help you goal set and get to achieve those goals. We did a quick crunch in numbers, and performance group members build on average 55% more in hours than non-performance group offices in 2023. And I'm so excited to see the numbers for 2024 because we've had a big push on performance groups here. So in order to keep growing, you have your business performance coach that is going to, be that key conduit and kind of help hold you accountable. But then these performance group members, they really hold each other accountable. You're talking business to business with another business owner, another right at home business owner. They have the same resources as you and kind of the same issues as you. So you get to overcome those obstacles. Within our meetings, we are sharing best practices and bright ideas that we've had in our offices, but they're also solving each other's burning issues. So it becomes kind of your board of directors that help you make decisions. And, is it time to bring somebody else on? Or I've been complaining about this same person, the same scheduler for a year now. It's time to make a move. So they help you make those decisions, but then they also celebrate those wins with you. I've actually talked to quite a few owners as we came out of the pandemic, and there were a couple of owners that were like, I was ready to throw up my hands and close the doors. And they are now seeing higher revenue than they've have because of their performance group. They all kind of dug in and worked together to help these people get out of it. And just knowing that you have somebody else kind of in the trenches with you that are going through the same things as you is just absolutely crucial.
Yes, and I do want to add in, Mallory, maybe you said this and I just missed it. For newer owners, we do want you to be a right at home franchise owner in our system for at least a year before you join a performance group. And there is a reason for that. Why is that, Mallory?
It's so that you have your bearings with you, but also you have to take time away from your business to be in a performance group. And so it does take, there's twice a year we meet in person and they're 2 full day meetings. So you're looking at, a travel day and then a travel day on the back end to come back. So we want to make sure that you're set up and your office is able to sustain operations while you're out working on the business instead of in the business.
Yes, that and personally, I have seen because I've attended some performance groups, which they're just lights out. They're so awesome. But everybody who attends the performance group, you've got some homework to do and things to submit prior to the meeting, and you actually share financials with the group to say, okay, here's what I did last quarter, and here's what I'm doing now, and here's some areas of improvement. And so, you as a newer franchise owner joining a performance group, you have to come equipped with at least a year's worth of financials to share with the rest of the group, which, by the way, I did want to point out how do I join a performance group? Once I'm in the Right at Home system for a year, can I just be like, hey, I want to join that group over there? Or how does that work?
Great question. So you'll work with your business performance coach. We do what's called a performance group profile or a new owner profile that wants to join a group. Some of them are already full, but some of them are recruiting new members. So what we do on the back end as business coaches, they look and they kind of play matchmaker. Who's going to get along with who? Personalities, weird, but then also business goals, business size, and business mix. So then you kind of interview with a group, and then the group decides, yep, this is a good fit, or, we just don't know that you're a good fit at this point in time, and tell you what they would like to see from a new owner joining. But it's not as bad as it sounds, because your coaches do a lot of the work on the back end to know who you'd be a good fit with.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you for that. I think those are all the questions that I have, and questions that have come in on performance groups. So, how about franchise owners that aren't in performance groups? What does that relationship look like with their coach on, if I'm not in a performance group? So how do I, um, is there a strategy that's put in place, or a plan that's outlined? Okay, so here we are, it's, October 2024, a 3-month plan, a 12-month plan, an annual plan, because we always want to have something to aim for, something to plan for, something to strive for. So what does that planning and strategy look like? And how does the coach help the franchise owner with putting together that strategy and that plan, and things that we watch and measure, and regular cadence of communication and all those good things? I realize I just asked you like 1,000 questions, but I think you understand what I'm asking.
I do.
Okay.
So we have what we utilize. It's called a strategic business plan. It is what it is. It helps you look, where do you want to be, let's say 3 years from right now? So here at the corporate office, we do 3-year strategic visions. We've kind of pushed that down into the franchise system, and you work one-on-one with your coach, and we'll look and say, in 3 years, where do you want to be? Not only revenue or hours billing, but how much do you, the owner, want to be working in the business? Currently you're putting in, let's say, 80-hour weeks. Who do you need to hire to replace you, and when can you get to that point? And then we'll break it down and say 3 years from now, okay, so next year at this time, where do you need to be? So your goal for 2025 is to hit X amount in revenue, X amount in hours, average hours weekly. So then we're going to work backwards from that and go quarter by quarter. We also like to watch trends and see. So we know that Q2 is really, really strong for you. Q3 is great, but then you kind of taper off in Q4 because of the holidays. So we're going to help you set your goals accordingly to make sure that you hit that annual revenue goal that you want to within the 4 quarters of the entire year. So we're constantly looking at that. We like to measure your gross profit margin, because we know that owners that have a healthy gross margin are able to reinvest in the business and also reinvest in themselves. And profitable owners are sustainable owners. Sustainable owners stay in the system longer, right?
Yep.
And so we are always monitoring that gross profit margin to ensure that you're growing at a good pace and not over leveraging yourself, or helping you make some decisions to ensure that you are protecting that gross profit margin.
Okay, awesome. Again, shifting gears, I'm just going to keep rapid fire through these questions. So it's no secret that home care is a highly regulated business. But for a very good reason. We're providing care for seniors and adults with disabilities, so there is a reason for that. What kind of resources do we have here to help our franchise owners with their state or national regulations that are put upon just home care in general, or even at the state or local level? What resources do we have to help them stay on top of that, to make sure that they are in full compliance with all of those rules and regulations?
Absolutely. So we have our brand standards, which help us keep within our scope of care. And then we always operate within the state regulations also. We have a licensure and government affairs department that really watches that and stays on top of it. And then you have your coach that is designated by state to kind of be the subject matter expert of that state to help you operate within those regulations. Our states that have higher regulations, Florida, California, Texas, New York, those types of states, we stay really in key to. Other states that maybe are unlicensed, or it's kind of the wild, wild west and they allow you to do whatever, then we're ensuring that you're operating within our scope of services. So it goes with your coach, but then we have a standards department that assists with that. And again, your coach will put you in contact with the people here at the corporate office that need to help in those areas. But we really do help you operate within your state licensure.
Okay. And then, even with that being said, when you become a Right at Home franchise owner for the very first time, you enter the Right at Home system. And if you are in a licensure state, that's another kind of fear that people have, like, oh my gosh, I'm in a licensure state. Where do I even start? I need to make sure that I'm doing this right. we have resources here on staff that are going to help and assist you with your state license application to ensure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and a timely submission of that application shortly after you sign your franchise agreement. So yet another resource that we have to help and support you. Okay, we're down to 5 minutes, Mallory. Time flies when you're having fun. Is there anything, before we part ways here, anything that you want to, a piece of advice that you want to offer to our listeners who are thinking about joining the Right at Home system, specifically regarding operations, maybe any fears that you want to kind of alleviate, or really just kind of offer any tips or pieces of advice when it comes to operations of a Right at Home business, especially for a brand new franchise owner?
Yeah, I would say, there's a lot of moving pieces to opening up any sort of business, but specifically a home care operation. I cannot drive the point home enough to work with your onboarding manager and your Right at Home business coach. We are connected with absolutely everyone in the corporate office and can point in the correct way if we don't have the knowledge in the specific area that we're working on. But again, to know that all of everything that we are suggesting you do and pointing them in the right direction and guiding new franchisees through the onboarding has been made, and the steps are put in the process that they're put in because people before have kind of helped pave the way. Yeah. We make all of our decisions based on what has worked in the past with other franchisees and the data to back it up. We are always watching those numbers to make sure and to help see what we can do to get franchisees to their break even quicker, to profitable quicker, and things like that. So we are always monitoring not only the revenue, but also the expenses. So the point that I like to drive home is work with the franchise system. Don't work against it. Come in with an open mind. Of course, we are always willing to take advice and take, feedback, but just knowing that it all comes from franchisees before them that have been in their shoes too.
Yes, and I can add that as well. Our research has shown franchise owners that really thrive in the Right at Home system are the ones that are highly engaged with the franchisor. I mean, that's why you're joining a franchise system, is for all that help and support that it comes along with, the purchase of a franchise. But we really do love what we do here at Right at Home. These are our jobs, and our job is to help and support you as a franchise owner. So we're here to do all of those things and to guide you in your journey as a franchise owner, and that's what we love to do. So stay incredibly engaged with the franchise owner, because that's going to lead you on the right path in your journey as a franchise owner. So Mallory, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know I appreciate you, and our listeners do as well. So thank you, and let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Always love our chats. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. All right. Have a great day. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.